Hey, what's going on everyone? My name's Wes. We're talking forgotten subclasses in today's video, so let's go. Alright, Forgotten Realms, Adventures in the Realms, Heroes, whatever it's called. The new D&D Beyond book by Wizards of the Coast with some new and returning favorites, subclasses. Right, so, Inspired Bard. Though the Glamour Bard I thought was the Fey theme inspired bard. Oh well. We have Moon's Inspiration. This is going to be a new way to use your inspirations, first of which are the Inspired Eclipse. So this is going to, as a bonus action, when you hand out your Bardic Inspiration, you become invisible. Not only do you become invisible, you also can teleport up to 30 feet until the start of your next turn. The invisibility lasts until the start of your next turn. It ends early if attacker casts a spell, deal damage, or cast a spell. I'm tired of the teleporting feature. Can you give me something new? Like, I don't know, you shrink down to like Ant-Man size or something? And alright, then we have Lunar Vitality. Once per turn, when you restore hit points to a creature, you can expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration and add that to the roll. The creature that you healed also gains 10 foot of movement till the end of its next turn. Not that bad, that second part. I mean, just adding a d6, then eventually d8, d10 to a healing spell may or may not be useful, but I don't think anyone ever argues with extra movement. Then we also have Primal Lore, which is just really flavorful. You gain an extra proficiency in either animal handling, insight, medicine, nature, perception, or survival. Oh, you also gain a druid cantrip, and you can swap that cantrip out whenever you finish a level. Yeah, whenever you gain a bard level, you can swap that druid cantrip out for another druid cantrip out. We all know you're going to pick guidance. It's the best cantrip there is in the game, and it's available to druids and not to bards, so why not pick up guidance? Then we have at level 6, Blessing of the Moonlight, or Blessing of Moonlight. You always have the Moonbeam spell prepared, and when you cast it, you can alter the Moonbeam spell while glowing. You shed dim light, which I don't like features that also make you glow. It's nothing like putting a target on your back, especially like this is a Forgotten Realms. The Underdark is a place. If you're bright and glowing in the Underdark, somebody can just like snipe you with a longbow, right? Anyway, whenever a creature fails their save against Moonbeam, another creature of your choice within 60 feet regains 2d4 hit points. You can cast Moonbeam once this way until you finish a long rest. I don't know if at 6th level there's kind of better things to concentrate on than Moonbeam. Like you have, for example, Slow. We also have Hypnotic Pattern, are pretty good examples of other spells you might want to cast instead of Moonbeam. And can you cast it without, and you still have to expend a spell slot when you cast it, so there's that. We have Eventide Splendor at level 14. So this improves your Moon's Inspiration. So when you do your little I go invisible because I teleported, when you use Inspired Eclipse, the creature who received the Bardic Inspiration also becomes invisible and immediately can take a reaction to teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. The creature remains invisible until the start of its next turn. This part's pretty cool. You become invisible and an ally becomes invisible, and then Vibrance of the Full Moon, when you use your Lunar Vitality, you can just roll a d6 instead of expending one of your Bardic Inspirations. I always love features that just say you can use this now. Like you see that with the Valor Bard, I believe. I think even the Swords Bard and the Battle Master Fighter. I mean, bias against teleportation. Not that I'm biased against it, but we need some creativity from the creators over at WotC. I'm sick of tired of just giving them the ability to teleport and do something special when they teleport. And the Moonbeam, you can cast it once per, like, you can alter your casting of Moonbeam. However, you kind of get it at, like, you get it at 6th level. Like I said, there's better things to concentrate on, and you still have to expend a spell slot. You don't get, like, a free use of it, like, true free use of it. And it's only once per long rest. And I'm gonna have to give this, like, I would give this like a B on... I'd have to really read into the lore in the books and this to maybe change my opinion based on like flavor and lore, but creativity, you're like a C tier. I really do like the become an invisible part, but it kind of reminds me of the Misty Escape and or Strike of the Cloud Giant feature from Big Beast. And I don't know. Let's say S tier was, if I was grading this on like a tier ranking, D would require some DM intervention. It's not that bad. C is the definition of mid. B is like, there's just one thing keeping you at an A. A is like exactly like where we want to be on fun, flavor, and power. This doesn't feel that powerful. I guess it kind of has the flavor of a moon bard. Like it's really that once per day thing, and you can't. It's not like charisma times per day, or like long rest and then eventually become short rest. It's just really once per day, and you still have to spend a spell slot on it. So, yeah, I would say this is B tier because S tier would be overpowered out of the park. Like, you're not in a classroom anymore getting regular grades. You are, you know, you graduated early, you went to college, you're like an 11-year-old in college. That's S tier. So, you're definitely not that. I'm gonna just go with the B tier if I had to grade this on something. Then we have our Knowledge Domain Cleric, which, speaking of classrooms, this guy's like the nerd of the clerics because, well, they are not new. They're remake. This is like our wizardy cleric, and so right at level 3 you gain the Blessings of Knowledge, which you gain proficiency in either Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion, and you actually gain expertise in 2 of those skills. Oh, you gain proficiency in 1 type of Artisan Twos, and 2 of the following, and then you gain expertise in those 2 that you chose. So, and if you are, and this is a 2024 cleric, so if you don't go the order that gives you heavy armor and martial training, if you go the other one that lets you use wisdom for your intelligence rolls, then you're gonna be better, either equal to or better than a wizard when it comes to knowledge skills. Then your domain spells, you get Command, Comprehend Languages, Detect Magic, Detect Thoughts, Identify, and Mind Spike, all at level 3. Then you get Dispel Magic, Non-Detection, Tongues, Arcane Eye, Banishment, Confusion, Legend Lore, Scrying, Synaptic Static. This is like a banger spell list. Honestly, this is such a good spell list because these are all spells that are good to have, but you never want to actually have to prepare them yourself. And so if you're a wizard, you don't really have an issue with having these spells not prepared because you can ritual cast for free, most of them. However, free Dispel Magic, or not having to prepare Dispel Magic, Tongues, Non-Detection is rare, but like when you need it, you need it. And in my current campaign, we've used Non-Detection quite a few times. We even had a whole arc where that was my character's purpose, was trying to learn Non-Detection. Detect Thoughts, always good to have. Just Detect Magic, Comprehend Languages, and Identify, always good to have. And just Scrying, Legend Lore, amazing spells. Banishment, for not having to prepare, great. Arcane Eye, not having to prepare, great. Synaptic Static, good, great spell. And this is still all at level 3, which you also get your Mind Magic. As a magic action, you can expand the use of your Channel Divinity. Choose a spell, a divination spell from your Knowledge Domain spell list, and you can cast that spell without expending a spell slot. This is at level 3. You can cast the spell of any of the divination free ones that you get without expending a spell slot. And the bard had to wait till level 6 to gain 1 free spell. Okay, their second free spell if you count the cantrip that they got at level 3. At level 6, you gain Unfettered Mind, which lets you gain telepathy out to 60 feet. You can, when you use this telepathy, you can simultaneously contact a number of creatures equal to your wisdom modifier. Additionally, you gain proficiency in intelligence saving throws. You could choose another one if you already have it. So, once again, Okay, actually, I don't know why I said once again. Some subclasses, other subclasses gain telepathy a lot earlier, like at level 3. Having to wait till level 6 isn't that bad considering everything else you got at level 3. And being able to like multi-contact multiple creatures is pretty cool as well. Like you can send a message to the entire party if need be. Level 17, Divine Foreknowledge. As a bonus action, you can magically expand your mind to the future. For an hour, you gain advantage on all D20 tests, or D20 test. Once you use this feature, you can't do so until you finish a long rest. You can also restore it by spending a 6th level spell slot. So it's like Foresight, but instead of being able to do this for the entire day, you can only do it for an hour. And if you want to do it again, it's a 6th level spell slot. Still pretty good. Really good. Not the damage dealing cleric, but it's like, wasn't the cleric we wanted, but it was the cleric we needed. Especially if you don't have like a wizard in your party. Let's say you had a warlock or a sorcerer as your mage in your party. So this is actually such a good subclass. And considering they're a nerd, I'm gonna have to give them S tier just on all the spells you have. Like, that is a lot of good free spells on top of being able to cast them, some of them, without expending a spell slot just by using your channel divinity. And then expertise in 2 skills. You're not, like I said, the tankiest. Well, you still could be a tank. You could have gone the medium armor or the heavy and armor and martial weapons route if you wanted to. But yeah, nothing to complain. This is amazing cleric. Next up, we have formerly the Purple Dragon Knight, now known as the Banneret Fighter. This is your... We saw them try to change the Purple Dragon Knight to a like Dragon Rider, like the Drake Warden, but not as good as the Drake Warden. They decided to retract that, and it kind of feels like back to its original version of the Purple Dragon Knight, but just slightly better. Because at level 3 you get Knightly Envoy, you can cast Comprehend Languages, but only as a ritual, and Charisma is your spell casting modifier for this. Comprehend Languages doesn't care about your spell casting modifier, but Charisma is important for this class. Remember that. Because you also get Polygate. When you learn one language of your choice from the player's handbook, and whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace this language learned with this benefit with another language that you've heard, that you've seen like signed or read within the past 24 hours. So I'm assuming that means like if you heard somebody speak Primordial, you can replace that with Primordial. Doesn't actually specify, or if it's just to the player's handbook. Take into consideration that this isn't available to the general public yet. If they don't have a Master Tier subscription, and or if you're waiting for the physical copy in a bookstore. Actually, bookstores should have it now, for anyone who pre-orders them at a bookstore. However, this stuff can be like updated in errata between like today and tomorrow. The other part of your level 3 feature is Well Spoken. You gain proficiency in one of the following skills: Insight, Intimidation, Performance, or Persuasion. And then you have, that's like the flavorful feature. Main level 3 feature is called Group Recovery. When you expend a use of your second wind to regain hit points, you can choose a number of allies within 30 feet to gain a d4 plus your fighter level and hit points as well. You can't use this again until you finish a short or long rest. And you can only choose a number of creatures up to your charisma modifier. So even if you just have 2 and you're a 4-person part, like you have a plus 14 charisma, so you have so you have 14 charisma plus 2 modifier, that means you can choose up to 2 creatures, which if you're in a 4-person party, that's you're healing from your second wind and you're healing 2 other creatures. That's not bad. If you have a 16, then that's basically the whole party getting healed. I mean, 1d4 is not a lot, plus your fighter level. So you're probably healing about, I don't know, 5 hit points here at this level. It gets better later on, like at level 7 when you get in team tactics. When you use your group recovery, each ally has advantage on d20 tests until the start of your next turn. So I would honestly use this right after, like, if you get hit with an AoE, doesn't even matter how big, just use it. Like, if your party gets hit with an AoE, just use it right off the get. Doesn't matter if you need the hit points early or not, everyone's going to gain advantage for a round, basically. Then you gain Rallying Surge. When you use your action Surge, you can choose the number of creatures within 30 feet up to your Charisma modifier. Minimum 1, they can choose to take, immediately take a reaction. It has to be available. They have to have their reaction available, I'm assuming. Doesn't specify though. And the ally can make one attack, or with a weapon or unarmed strike, or they can move up to half their speed without provoking opportunity attacks. Actually, it's super useful, especially if you have like a rogue in your party. If they haven't used their reaction yet already, and or just to like spellcaster or someone else, maybe into the fight or away from something, but might take some timing. Like, you might want to work out the timing with your party a little better, which can get a bit metagamey, but that's not the biggest issue, right? Then we have Shared Resilience. When an ally you can see within 60 feet fails a saving throw, you can use your reaction, expend a use of your Indomitable, which you have multiple uses of, remember that. And the ally immediately re-rolls and gets the bonus equal to your fighter level. So this is level 15. That means they're getting a plus 15 bonus. That's super good. That is really, really good. That can save an ally's life. Literally, depending on the saving throw. And at level 18, you get Bolstered Rally. The area of your like abilities, your group recovery, your rallying surge is now 60 feet. It says emanation, I'm just saying 60 feet. And then you are immune to the Charmed and Frightened condition. This fighter, Banneret Fighter, feels like it will pair very well, in my mind, with the Valor Bard, because you're giving your allies advantage on d20 tests, and then the Valor Bard who hands out inspiration. Their inspirations can be used either to bolster AC or add to damage roll. Honestly, just any bard would be pretty good. Or, actually, take one level of Warlock, and you can be using Charisma for everything by going back to the Blade. And then you could just be single ability score dependent. Though you might still want to prioritize some dex or strength for heavy armor, or medium armor, light armor, depending. But yeah, one level Warlock would do great for you. Or even if you have third-party content available, 2 levels of Illrigger will let you do the same thing. Next are Oath of the Noble Genie, Paladin, which I get it's supposed to be a Dragonborn because they don't have a tail, but it still very much looks like a kobold to me, at least in the artwork. So right at level 3, you gain Elemental Smite. When you use your Divine Smite, you can add a little extra to it. And this is your standard Divine Smite. So Dow's Crush, you can grapple a creature. And then they also become restrained. The DC is your spell save DC. And you can, they have to take an action to break out of the restraint later. Yeah, how long does it last? Doesn't say how long it lasts. Actually, I'm expecting that to get errata, so between, I don't know, when you watch this and when it's released, there may be an update. Then we have Jin's Escape. You teleport 30 feet, but you become semi-incorporeal, which lasts until the end of your next turn. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. You're immune to being grappled, prone, and or restrained. Sick of the teleporting. So sick of the teleporting. All of the other features would have been cool, like you just become incorporeal and like this stuff happens. That's cool. Didn't need to teleport on top of that, but I digress. Ifrit's Fury, your Divine Smite does an extra 2d4 fire damage. Now if you're a Fire Giant Goliath, then you can also do an extra 1d10. If you took like the Big B's Strike of the Giants origin feat, then you could do another 1d10 fire damage on top of that as well. But here's the kicker. A creature you see within 30 feet also takes 2d4 fire damage. 30 feet is a pretty big gap for fire to jump from one target to another. Like Green Flame Blade is literally 5 feet. Even with something like Spell Sniper, that doesn't increase the jump of Green Flame Blade. So, yeah, that's pretty powerful. And we still have Madrid Surge. Each creature of your choice within 10 feet must make a strength saving throw or be pushed 15 feet and knocked prone. That's very good. Unless you have like a rogue who uses like a crossbow in your party, or a ranger, because then they're gonna have disadvantage on attacking prone enemies. We're not even done yet. You get your Genie spells, which are Chromatic Orb, Elementalism, Thunder Smite. So that's 2 free smite spells if you count Divine Smite. Prepared. Mage, Minor Image, Phantasmal Force, Fly, Gaseous Form, Conjure Minor Elementals, Summon Elemental, Banishing Smite, and Contact Other Plane. They gave a Paladin who can already do 2d4 extra damage, Conjure Minor Elementals, which is 2d8 extra damage, not counting Divine Smite once per turn, not counting the fact that Divine Favor is concentration free and adds a d4 to every attack. Not to mention you could be dual wielding a short sword and a scimitar with the Nick property. That's not it. You also get Genie Splendor, which, if you aren't wearing armor, your AC is calculated by 10, plus your dexterity, plus your charisma. So this wants you, and you can still benefit from a shield. So we have a dex-based paladin who can deal all the damage I just said. Keep that in mind when we get to our next subclass. Alright, that's still not it, because you also gain proficiency in one of the following: Acrobatics, Intimidation, Performance, or Persuasion. Level 7, Aura of Elemental Shielding. Choose the elemental damage type: Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder. You and your allies gain resistance to that. Oh, and you can change this, no action, every turn. You can change the damage type. So if you were fighting a fire giant and then out of nowhere for some reason I don't know, blue dragon came and hit you came flying from the sky and decided to come at you guys, you can switch this to lightning. Elemental Rebuke is when you get hit with an attack roll, you can take a reaction and deal damage. You first half the damage you take, round it down, and then you force the attacker to make a dex save. On a fail, they take 2d10 plus your charisma modifier and elemental damage of the same types as before. On a successful save, the attacker takes half as much, and you can do this charisma modifier times per day. The bard could only cast Moonbeam once and modify it. Just throwing that out there. Finally, at level 20, you get Noble Scion. This is when most paladins become a god. And, well, you, for 10 minutes, you gain fly speed of 60 feet, and you can hover. And then you or an ally in your aura of protection fails a d20 test, you can just take a reaction and succeed instead. You or that ally. So you have to use your reaction, which means you couldn't use it on your other feature earlier. Your rebuke one, your elemental rebuke. Not the strongest level 20 feature, however, spend a first level spell slot on Divine Favor, then a 5th level spell slot to upcast Conjure Minor Elementals for 3d8 on each attack, plus 1d4 on each attack, and then on one of those turns, you can go ahead and expend a spell slot to do 5d8 or 4d8 damage of Divine Smite, plus an additional 2d4 fire damage. Once again, if you're a fire giant, or a Goliath fire giant, an extra d4 or d10. And if you have the Big Beast background that lets you do extra damage, then just extra damage on top of that. Yeah, this paladin's graduated. They're out of the classroom. I'm gonna say they're S tier. Being able to just no action required change the damage resistance you get. Your amazing spell list. your, the ability to, when you smite, you can do all this other stuff instead. And you also gain other smite spells prepared as well. Like, this is really good. Which makes me so sad that Paladins are the class right before Rangers whenever we're doing subclass reviews. And the Winter Walker Ranger is up next. So you gain Frigid Explorer at level 3, which, Biting Cold, you gain resist or damage from your weapon attacks, ranger spells, and ranger features ignore cold resistance. You have resistance to cold damage, and when you hit a creature with the weapon, specifically a weapon, can't even be an armed strike, you deal an extra 1d4 cold damage. The target can only take this damage once per turn, and then increases to a d6 at level 11. So very similar to the Fey Wanderer, where you can deal this more than once per turn, but just has to be on a different creature every time. But you notice how earlier it said your damage from your weapons was also included with that? You don't have the ability to change your weapon's damage type though. So whatever piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning weapon you choose is still forced to deal piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning damage. That extra d4 damage is the only cold damage. And then we have a level 3, Hunter's Rhyme. When you cast Hunter's Mark, you gain temporary hit points equal to 1d10 plus your ranger level. Now, additionally, whoever you Hunter's Mark can't take the disengage action. So, I'm definitely a melee ranger, because my Hunter's Mark prevents targets from disengaging from me, and I gain temporary hit points when I use Hunter's Mark. I would honestly just waste this feature. Like, once I'm like ranger level 10 or maybe even 5, I would just, because you get free castings of Hunter's Mark, I would just cast it and drop concentration just so I gain the temporary hit points. That's probably the only value you get at level 3. Besides the 1d4 extra damage that ignores resistance. Your Winter Walker spells are Ice Knife, Hold Person, Remove Curse, Ice Storm, and Cone of Cold. Comparatively to the Paladin, who got a couple smite spells plus Conjure Minor Elementals that work with weapon attacks, right? Where all of these require your action. Which means if you're using your action to cast a spell, you know what you're not doing, making weapon attacks. So you're not using any of your other level 3 features by casting Ice Knife. By wasting a spell slot to cast Ice Knife. Hold Person's probably the only good one here. Oh, Remove Curse is great out of combat. Ice Storm, Cone of Cold, but you get Cone of Cold at level 17, not level 5. Or sorry, level 10. Yeah. Let's see what else we get. Fortifying Soul. You, as a magic action, choose the number of creatures equal to your Wisdom modifier. They regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your ranger level, and has advantage on saving throws again to avoid or end the frightened condition for an hour. You can use this feature once you use this feature, you can't do so until you finish a long rest. Best time to regain hit points is probably after a fight, right? Unless you just have one combat per day, because then you're probably just gonna like role play and then go to bed, blah blah blah. So you're not gonna use this feature. If you use it in combat to regain hit points plus your ranger level, so about 12 hit points on average, to avoid or end the frightened condition for an hour. But it uses a magic action, which is an action, which means you're not making weapon attacks. I mean, damage isn't the most important thing. However, what are we doing here? Let's continue on. Or let's try to continue on. We have Chilling Retribution. You can take, when the creature hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to force the creature to make a wisdom save. On a failed save, versus your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target has the stun condition, and while stunned, their speed is reduced to 0. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. Okay, we're a spellcaster, right? That's what they want us to be, a spellcaster? So, just kind of be like a, or worse, druid or bard, honestly, because druid and bard have similar spells on their spell list to the rangers. But wait, they also want us to concentrate on Hunter's Mark for the temp HP. Oh wait, and our next feature, at level 15, Frozen Haunt. When you cast Hunter's Mark, you adopt a ghostly, snowy form that lasts until the spell ends, which is Hunter's Mark, which lasts an hour, unless you upcast it, because then it could be 24 hours. You gain the following benefits, well, depending what level of Hunter's Mark you cast it at. You gain the following benefits. Once you use this feature, you can't do so until you finish a long rest or expend a 4th level spell slot. Immunity to cold damage. When you first adopt this form, each creature, and on subsequent turns after that, at the start of your turns, creatures within 15 feet of you take 2d4 damage, cold damage. No save, no attack roll, they just take cold damage. And you have immunity to the grappled, prone, and restrained condition. You can move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, and then the remainder, you take force damage if you end your turn there, blah blah blah. Which, being immune to the grappled, prone, and restrained condition, I'm pretty sure that Paladin could do that right at like level 3. Djinn feature, right? Besides, your spell list and features kind of wanting you to be a spellcaster more so than a martial class. However, they still want you to concentrate on Hunter's Mark, which only works when you make weapon attacks. I feel like this subclass is fighting itself. And the fact that this is what comes right after the Paladin. Once again, that can use Divine Favor, no concentration. Can smite. You can also add an extra d4 to those 2d4 to those smites once per turn. And can also concentrate on conjure minor elementals while having an aura of protection. This is just like, I feel like a slap in the face to people who really enjoy the ranger. I mean, having to concentrate on Hunter's Mark forever when there's better spells, when there's spells like Summon Beast, Summon Fae, at higher levels, Tree Stride, Guardian of Nature, all those cool other spells that you never get to try. Zephyr Strike, which is level 1 because you're concentrating on Hunter's Mark. And those require concentration. Dude, if I end up at a panel at PAX and I get to talk to the design team, I'm just gonna ask them I'm not gonna ask them if they hate Rangers. I'm just gonna literally point this out. Like, you gave all of this to the Paladin. What happened with the Ranger? Like, screw the Martial Caster divide. What's with the Half Caster divide? But that's just where I'm at. This Ranger's D tier, obviously. You can only do, like, a D4, then D6 extra damage. It does ignore resistance. But that's about it. Your spell list is garbage. Absolute garbage. Spell save DC or spell attack requires your wisdom, so you're more wisdom based. But once again, you want to concentrate on Hunter's Mark to get these other features, don't you? You pick a background, right? That gives you, let's say, Shillelagh, and then maybe, like, can you get, I don't know if you can get Shillelagh and Find Familiar from a background, right? But if you can, right? If you Magic Initiate Druid gives you Find Familiar. You Hunter's Mark your Familiar. So then, you don't ever actually have to attack your Familiar, but you Hunter's Mark your Familiar. So when your level 15 feature comes on, you're just like, I can't be grappled, I can't be knocked prone, I can't be restrained, and I deal 2d4 extra cold damage every round. And I can just deal a d6 to whoever I attack in front of me. So that's one way you can go about that. Doesn't feel that fun. Very metagaming to put Hunter's Mark on your Familiar just so you get these benefits, but that's the subclass they designed. Let's move on to the Scion of the 3. Right, this is for the Edgelords and 13-year-old boys, because yeah, you played Baldur's Gate 3, and your favorite part was the ballist. And you probably made a bunch of jokes because of the name. The Scion of the Three Rogue. At level 3, you gain Bloodlust. When you see an enemy within 30 feet of you that has taken damage and is bloodied, you can, guess what? Use a reaction to teleport. Oh my god, you can teleport! Within 5 feet of the enemy, and you make a melee attack against them. And you can do this number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. I mean, that's pretty cool, being able to just teleport and make an attack with that reaction. However, they have to be bloodied. And like how I said, 13-year-old boys and or edgelords are going to be like, the same people who ask like after every session, did we level up, did we level up, did we level up, are going to be like, are they bloodied, are they bloodied, are they bloodied? Also at level 3, you can choose one of the three gods. Bane, resistance to psychic damage, and you can cast Minor Illusion. Ball, resistance to poison, and you gain Blade Ward. Merkle, you resistance to necrotic damage, and Chill Touch. Giving yourself Blade Ward from Ball is probably the most powerful one. Minor Illusion is a great spell to have just for utility. I use it all the time. Alright, with my my Bard character that I had for a while, used it all of the time. Even my Sorcerer currently uses it. Just to be like, hey, did it look like this? Can you describe it? And I'll try to do Minor Illusion it. Sort of like a police sketch. Honestly, it's how I use Minor Illusion most of the time. But besides Minor Illusion for utility, getting resistance to poison damage and Blade Ward is pretty good. Considering you're a rogue, you don't really have anything else to concentrate on, so might as well. Then at level 9, you're getting Strike Fear. You gain you can use your Cunning Strike at the cost of only 1d6. Make a creature make a Wisdom save, and they are frightened. While the target is frightened from you this way, you have advantage on attack rolls against the target. The target can repeat the save at the end of each of their turns, so this is a good way to grant your own sneak attack by having advantage on the target at the cost of one of your sneak attack dice, but once they're bloodied, remember, you can teleport to them. Level 13, Aura of Malevolence. You radiate malignant power associated with one of the dead three. When you use your Bloodthirst and Teleport, which remember requires your target to be bloodied, each creature within 10 feet of either the space you left or the space you're going to takes damage equal to your intelligence modifier. Okay, the Martial Caster Divide is back again. The true Martial Caster Divide is back again. Because, wow, that's pretty bad. It requires the target to be bloodied. Which, once again, brings in that metagaming, is it bloodied yet? Is it bloodied yet if the DM doesn't tell you right away? Requires you to be fighting multiple targets. And requires you to either... once you teleport to where you're going to be attacking because that's part of your Bloodthirst ability. So there is going to be a target there who takes damage equal to your intelligence modifier. Dread Incarnate. Cutthroat. Gives you you gain the following features. Cutthroat, which is you regain 1 expended use of your Bloodthirst when you finish a long or short rest. So if your intelligence modifier was only like a 14, so you had a +2, and you use both of your features already for the day, you gain 1 more on a short rest. Which isn't that bad. It's actually, it's always good to regain an ability that especially doesn't require you to be bloodied to get. And then, Murderous Intent. When you roll for sneak attack, you can treat any 1s and 2s as 3s. Wow. Guaranteeing 3s on a 1 or 2, which is little extra damage. Requiring you for your target to be bloodied to gain most of your subclass abilities is pretty bad. The extra damage that you do is minuscule. And the best thing about the subclass is the resistance you get and either Blade Ward or Minor Illusion, because Chill Touch isn't really that good since they made it a touch spell. and not a range spell like it used to be. So this is gonna be another D tier. Man, the expert classes are not looking that good. We gave the Bard a B, the Ranger's a D, this Rogue is a D. I could probably be convinced to a C, but it's not gonna go any higher than that. Anyway, Spellfire Sorcerer. The Spellfire Sorcerer. Level 3, you gain Spellfire Burst, so you can spend 1 sorcery point as part of the magic action or bonus action to do one of the 2 following features. One creature of your choice, one creature that you can see within 30 feet gains temp HP equal to 1d4 plus your charisma modifier. At level 3, that's probably gonna be anywhere from 4 to 7 temp HP. Other option, choose a creature of your choice within 30 feet, takes 1d4 fire radiant damage of your choice. No save, no attack roll for 1 sorcery point. Though 2 sorcery points would allow you to quicken a spell to make an attack roll with like a firebolt. Just throwing that out there. Then at level 3, we also gain our expanded spell list, which has Cure Wounds, Guiding Bolt, Lesser Restoration, Scorching Ray, Aura of Vitality, Dispel Magic, Fire Shield, Wall of Fire, Greater Restoration, and Flame Strike. Okay, this spell list is actually pretty good. Lesser Restoration, Dispel Magic, Fire Shield, Greater Restoration, all really good spells that you don't... and not having to prepare them is pretty good. Cure Wounds, depending whether or not you have another healer, can go either way. Actually, sorry, this is Cure Wounds on a Sorcerer. This is very good, because you can quicken a Cure Wounds, or you can distant cast the Cure Wounds to give it range. And that's actually my favorite part about currently playing a Divine Soul, is being able to either quicken or distant cast the Cure Wounds. And then Lesser Restoration, Greater Restoration, and Dispel Magic are all spells that you just love to have, but don't always want to have to prepare them. So, spell list is pretty good, really good. Oh, and you get Wall of Fire and Fire Shield too. Then, level 6, Absorb Spell. You always have Counterspell prepared, so not only do you always have Dispel Magic prepared, you always have Counterspell prepared. And when you cast a Counterspell and a creature fails their save against your Counterspell, you gain 1d4 sorcery points back. So if you subtle cast your Counterspell so it can't be counterspelled, 1d4 sorcery points, which... let's just roll a d4 here. Let's just say... oh, I actually wrote a 4. That's pretty good. Got 2 that time. So... yeah. Not bad. Just having Counterspelled always prepared, once again, frees up you to prepare something else. And if you have access to third-party spells, then now we're really cooking, as opposed to just what's in the player's handbook. Okay, level 14, we have Honed Spellfire. Your Spellfire Burst improves. You add your sorcery level to the temporary hit points, and your damage increases from a d8 to a d4. Now, I'm wondering if your d4 also increases to a d8, but they didn't update this yet, and there will be one later on. If not, it's a d4 plus your charisma plus your sorcerer level. So, in temp HP. So if you decide to take Inspiring Leader as a feat to bump your charisma, by chance, wait to use this ability until after your Inspiring Leader temp HP has gone, because at least you'll get what you got from Inspiring Leader, which is charisma plus your level, on top of a d4. The d4 might just be 1 extra temp HP, but remember, you can do that as a bonus action in 1 sorcery point. This is really good. To just, okay, I took a hit, cool, 1 sorcery point, bonus action. I have minimum at 14th level, I should say you would have a 20th level charisma modifier. If not, you probably have an 18, so either a +4 or +5. So you're either looking at 18 or 19 temp HP for 1 sorcery point and a bonus action. That's really good. Then Crown of Spellfire. This is your sorcerer, when your sorcerer incarnate is active, you gain the following benefits. You can use this once per long rest, or spend a 5 sorcery points, no action required to restore it, which are Burning Life Force once per turn, when you are hit with an attack roll, you can expend number of hit dice up to your charisma modifier and reduce the damage by the total rolled. So if you have max your charisma by 18th level, that's a +5. So you can expend up to 5d6. If you have one of the tomes that increase your ability scores by 2, then you could have a 6 at this level. And then the following level, you gain a epic boon. And there are new epic boons in this book. Just throwing that out there. So you could possibly have charisma 17 or charisma +7. So you could be expending 7d6s to reduce damage. You also gain flight up to 60 feet and a hover. And you have spell avoidance. So when you're subject to... Oh, this is basically evasion from spells or magical effects. You take half damage on a fail and no damage on a success. You gain evasion at this level as well while your Sorcerer's Incarnate active. So at the beginning, when I was talking about your level 3 feature not being the best for damage and or temp HP, it's really not. But your spell list definitely makes up for it. And once it levels up with you, it definitely makes up for it. I have to say this is A tier sorcerer. Easily A tier. I could probably even be convinced that it's, S tier, just because it's tough. Like I said, I can be easily convinced that this is S tier, but I'm just gonna say it's A at 3rd level, because the only thing you really have going for you, because sorcery points aren't free, you only have 3 at this level, unless you also have meta magic adept somehow. So sorcery points are better off spent elsewhere, like on a distant cure wounds. But once you really get to level 6, oh, it gets good. It gets real good. If you're starting a game at higher level, let's say level 5, level 6, I would say this is S tier. So, but if not, if you're starting at level 1, I'm gonna say this is A tier. Our final class is the Bladesinger, which this is the 3rd iteration of the Bladesinger. First seen in Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, updated in Tasha's, updated again here. So you get Blade Song. You can't use Blade Song if you have armor on or wielding a shield. It lasts for a minute or until you're incapacitated and or decide to don armor or a shield, or use 2 hands to make your melee weapon attack. You can also dismiss Blade Song whenever you want. While Blade Song is active, you can use Blade Song a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum 1, and you gain expended uses on a long rest. Agility, you can add your AC to you gain a bonus to your AC equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum 1. Your speed increases by 10 feet, and you have advantage on dexterity acrobatics checks. Whenever you attack with a weapon, this is the new feature, you can use intelligence instead of dexterity or strength for the attack and damage rolls. And when you make a concentration saving throw to maintain concentration, you can add your intelligence modifier to that roll. So very much still the same. The only difference is you can't wear light armor anymore, and you can attack with intelligence right off the... Okay, so alright, yeah. And then you also get training in War and Song. You gain proficiency with all melee weapons that don't have the two-handed or heavy property. You can use your melee weapon, which you are proficient with, as a spell casting focus for your wizard spells. And you can also gain proficiency in one of the following: acrobatics, athletics, performance, or persuasion. At level 6, you can attack twice instead. You gain an extra attack, and you can swap one of those with a cantrip. Level 10 is still the same. You can take a reaction when you take damage to reduce the damage equal to 5 plus a spell's level by expending a spell slot, which still isn't the best. You probably are better off just not getting hit by hitting shield, or casting something like Absorb Elements to give yourself resistance, depending on what's hitting you. But that's level 10, Song of Defense. Song of Victory has been changed. Before, it let you add your intelligence modifier to damage rolls. Now, or after casting a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can make a 1 attack with a weapon as a bonus action. Now remember, True Strike takes an action to cast. True Strike is a cantrip, which you can use along with your extra attacks. And that counts as making a spell that has a casting time of 1 action. This is slightly better. No, it's overall better. Level 10 feature is still kind of bleh. You're still a full-blown wizard. Everyone always says the Bladesinger's S tier. Well, we compared it to the Swords Bard these days, or not the Swords Bard, the Valor Bard. At level 10, they can pick up Shield if they wanted to, right? And if they didn't get it with Magic Initiate earlier. They have medium armor. They can't add they're not single ability score dependent unless they take like a single level of Warlock. But they could just max their dex, which would be equally the same thing here. So we have 2 full-blown spellcasters with the entire wizard spell list available to both of them. The same style of extra attack. I think the Valor Bard might be better. Might just be better. Oh, you have a better AC and the bonus to your concentration, where they just have better armor off the get. But they can also cast like cleric spells if they wanted to, or druid spells. But who am I kidding? You're both concentrated on conjure minor elementals. If you're comparing it to what the Valor Bard can do, then they're both just A tier in comparison to each other. Neither one kind of takes the cake over the other. One has the ability to cast spells as rituals. The other has the ability to choose cleric or druid spells, plus bard spells. Yeah, that was all of the subclasses, and let me know what you guys think. I know I kind of like really was trashing the rogue. Yeah, I think the rogue still lost out in this, being like the worst, as you have to wait for your opponents to be bloodied to have 2 of your abilities work, and you're a rogue, so you don't gain like the gap between your the level 3 and when your ability upgrades at higher levels is such a huge gap that you're probably not even a full rogue, and if you are, kudos to you. The ranger, I mean, like I said, you're using Shillelagh, you're up in someone's face, so you have your maxed wisdom. Like I said, your one feature is kind of good out of combat, or if you're multi-class with a fighter and you have action surge, use your ability to gain hit points, recover hit points for your allies, and as a magic action, and then you action surge so you don't have to lose out on attacking. And I think the real winners here are definitely the cleric, the sorcerer, and the paladin. Bard, like I said, it's a B tier in comparison to what the other subclasses get in this same book. But those have been my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. My name's been Wes. Where's the fun? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.